Going on, Falcon fan? This your boy Rakundo coming back at you with another video. Today we're going to talk about Arthur Smith interview that he had on AtlantaFalcons.com. Also talk about the scouting combine. You know, the Atlanta Falcons got the number 8th overall pick. Talk about some guys who we'll be looking for during that combine. Who's going to make their way up the board? Who might, make their way down the board? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about some coaching staff changes for the Atlanta Falcons. And it's a little bit more rumors and news that I think it's getting kind of ridiculous because I think the Atlanta Falcons getting brought up in every trade scenario, every quarterback scenario that's out there. With that being said, guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here that I talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So right into it, guys. Today, Arthur Smith gave an interview on AtlantaFalcons.com. Just catching back up. We haven't heard from him since the outbreak that we had at the end of the season. Him and Terry Fontenot. Actually, Terry Fontenot will speak with the media tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. We'll get some of his comments and talk about those. But listen to Arthur Smith, some of the things that he talked about. Of course, he talked about the new defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, bringing in Jerry Gray, and then all the coaching changes that they made within the coaching staff, giving guys opportunities to actually elevate their positions and help this team out. It's good to see they having development, not just only with the players, but in the coaching staff as well. And we'll talk about some of those coaches. Steve Jackson, secondary coach, moving over from the offensive side of the ball. Lanier Guthrie, named assistant offensive line coach. Dave Huxtable, senior defensive assistant. Nick Perry, assistant wide receiver coach. Patrick Kramer, offensive assistant. Stephen King, offensive assistant, coming over from the defense as well. Mario Jabril, special project defense. Michael Gray, football analyst. And Mateo Cambui, the Bill Walsh Diversity Fellowship. He's in the offensive line. So like I said, guys, this awesome opportunity for the Atlanta Falcons to actually develop some of their coaching from internal, moving these guys, from one side of the ball to the other side of the ball. That would really make you a well-rounded coach to actually learn both sides of the ball. A lot of these guys been coaching for so long. Well, if you just dabble and dabble all over, when you get opportunity to be that head coach, you have so much experience because you understand the entire game. If you get put in one spot your whole entire coaching career, it can be hard for you to understand and how you would actually run a team from a coaching standpoint. So the ideal of these guys going from the offensive side to the defense side, from the defense side to the offensive side, I think is awesome. And you develop within your staff, that's only going to make these guys stronger, and you gotta love that. He also talked about the focus on the defensive line. He mentioned it again today in the interview. That's really one of the things they really, really want to try to hone on. Ron Nielsen is going to be hands-on with that defensive line. That's why they brought Jerry Gray in to kind of do that secondary piece. Of course, Jerry Gray has a lot of coach experience, has been a defensive coordinator. So having those, different heads talking about defensive scheme, trying to put together, it's going to be awesome. But I think the biggest focus this year is going to be that defensive front, trying to get pressure specifically with our front four. If we can do that, it's going to be really good. I mean, our defense was not really as bad as people want to think it was this year. The biggest issue was third down. We had a lot of third and shorts. We couldn't get off the field because of that. If you want to create third and longs, that's why you want to have a good stout defensive line so you can stop the run, and then you can pin your ear back, and then you can try to create pressure with your front four that way. So that's going to be one of the main focus. Like I said, he mentioned again, going to be interesting to see what these guys should do in the free agency period, because I think that's going to tell us a lot about the draft, what these guys actually do in the free agency period. the question was asked about the quarterback position. And once again, of course, just like a savvy coach, you're not going to show your hands, and you shouldn't right now. Like I said, Desmond Ridder only had 4 games, but I really believe that they like Desmond Ridder. They just don't want to make it so publicly known because they don't want to tip their hands off to other teams around what they could be thinking and things like that. Now, if a Godfather offer comes around, to trade somebody like a Deshaun, Lamar Jackson, I definitely could see something like that. But if that's not the case, I'm really leaning on them actually going out and actually letting Desmond Ridder be the starter. They definitely gonna have to bring in a veteran quarterback. Heard somebody on ESPN Day mention Jacoby Brissett bringing in. If Ryan Tannehill get cut, maybe bringing him in to be a veteran, something like that. But I think Desmond Ridder is definitely going to be that the starter going into training camp. He may have to compete, but at the same time, I believe he's going to be that guy that they really want to take over the reins. For his quarterback coach, we know we lost Charles London, and Dave Ragone actually going to take over that position as the offensive coordinator / quarterback coach. He works with a lot of the quarterbacks anyway. If you go back to training camp, when I was out there a lot looking at training camp, it was Dave Ragone there with Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder doing training camp, going through all the drills and stuff. So he really hands-on with the quarterbacks anyway. So I think it's going to be a natural fit for him to go ahead and take over that role. The communication between the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach is hand-to-hand anyway, synonymous. So I really believe that it's not going to be a big issue for Dave Ragone to take over that role. So I really like all the things Arthur Smith had to say. And one thing that just to end on the Arthur Smith conversation is he talked about the 2 different seasons that we had, even though the record ended up being identical, 7-10. But you just have to realize that the 2021 team and the 2022 team was just 2 completely different teams. How they played from a defensive standpoint, not as much, but it's still the same because we had a lot of different personnel from 2021 on defensive side of the ball than we had 2022. We had a lot younger guys playing a lot of snaps in 2022. Of course, we had on the offensive side, we had a 14-year vet and Matt Ryan, experience. That's why you can see that the passing game was a little bit more fluid in 2021. Come to this year, the running game was a little bit more fluid. So his plan is, like he said, want to try to combine those and make it a little bit more balanced this year. And I think this is going to be the first time these guys get opportunity to actually build out a roster that can sustain and be kind of the same going into the next year, because so many 1-year contracts, the salary cap nightmare that they inherited. So this really is going to be an interesting year for these guys. But this is going to be the first year where next year when we going into this time, we can say a lot of these guys are going to be coming back, like trying to turn over a whole new roster all over again, except for the key pieces that we got. But you know that the depth is always a big piece. The draft is going to be really important again this year. Building through the draft is always, in my opinion, the best way to sustain success for a long time. The first 2 drafts was a hit. This year, hopefully the draft will be the same. And talking about the draft, as you know, the combine starts tomorrow on February 28th. Tomorrow just be probably medical and interviews with all the teams and things like that. The actual on-field activities start on Thursday. The D-lines and linebackers will go out on Thursday and Friday. On Saturday, you'll have the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight end. And Sunday, you're in out with the running backs and offensive linemen. So just look out for those schedules. Some of the guys we definitely going to be looking for from the quarterback position. CJ Stroud is going to participate. Bryce Young is going to wait till his pro day. Will Levis, Henry Hooker, of course, he's still recovering from an ACL. Anthony Richardson, another guy that everybody said has a lot of potential, raw talent, and might have to sit, sort of like Malik Willis was hyped up this past season, right? And then, of course, we got both guys that was actually in the national championship. Max Duggan and Stetson Bennett is going to be there as well. 319 guys was invited to this combine, so it's going to be a lot of guys that we can actually look at and see, not just from the first round, but throughout the draft. And just remember, that's just 319. There's a lot of more guys that did not get invited that the Atlanta Falcons definitely going to be looking at as well. But some of the big name guys, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, Myles Murphy, Tyrese Wilson, Brian Breesy. That's all our defensive guys. Witherspoon, cornerback, him and Gonzalez, those guys. Lucas Van Ness, Nolan Smith. Then we go get some offensive linemen. We get Peter Skoronski, and Broderick Jones. So those some guys, just for guys to look at from a running back standpoint. Definitely going to be looking for Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tank Bigsby. I really like Tank Bigsby. Kenny McIntosh is another guy that you definitely want to look at. Wide receiver Jordan Edison, the young wide receiver from TCU. Wide receiver class is really not like the last couple of years where you had some top 10 receivers out there, but it's a lot of receivers that got invited. So we're going to be able to see all those guys. And remember, it's not where you get drafted or anything like that. And you got to remember last year when Trayvon Walker got out there last year, how his stock just rose, right? The number 1 overall pick, right? Over Aiden Hutchinson, right? This combine is a big thing. Yes, you're in shorts, you're out there, but you're competing on your abilities. And a lot of times in the combines and things like that, and draft picks, they grade your attributes and your potential. That's what they did with Walker last year. Potential, what he can actually do. That's kind of stuff like that. Also, they can look at a guy and what they expected him to do, and like just say he don't run so well. Not as accurate they thought the quarterback position, a lot of drops, things like that. Those kind of things. The film shows one thing. We out there, testing, right? Most of the time, coaches and front office personnel always say they go off the tape for the most part, but sometimes you want what you see on the field to just justify what you've seen on the tape. That's what you want to see, right? So you say, yes, that speed is what I seen on the tape, or vice versa. That's what you want to see. Well, he don't look like he run that fast, but whoa, he is that fast. So like a guy like Keely Ringo, they say projected to run like a 4.3. Does he play that fast? I was a little bit surprised he ran that fast. So things like that. So those are the kind of things that we definitely want to see in the combine. I can't wait to this thing to get started. We got about 2 weeks away from the actual league year to happen, and then everything is going to start popping off. So it's getting exciting, guys. It's really getting exciting. Atlanta Falcons currently have the second most cap space right now. Of course, Chicago got almost $100 million to spend, and the Falcons behind that with about 56. Expect that to go up. Still haven't heard anything about Marcus Mariota. We did hear that Carson Wentz got released today by the Commanders, which is kind of not a good thing for us because I think they cleared up cap space to bring back that man, that Daron Payne that we was trying to get down here in Atlanta. So I think we're going to lose out on him. I think they're probably going to go ahead and give him a multi-year contract. So we have to try to see, can we get a defensive tackle from some. It's so many out there to choose from. I thought he was the top one. Like I said, go back to some other video. Maybe we can get 2 for the price of 1. That would be great. But either way, we know what the Falcons really, really looking for this actually off season. and let's see if they were just pulling the wool over our eyes, or they executed all the things that we've been hearing from the front office, from Arthur Smith in his video today. Last thing but not least, don't get caught up on all the rumors that's out there about the Atlanta Falcons. I think they have tied like every quarterback to the Atlanta Falcons. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, right? Of course, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, all these different quarterbacks they have tied to us. It was talked about yesterday when the Chicago Bears were looking at trading out of the number one pick. It was talked that Atlanta Falcons could be one to move up. I just don't see that happening, giving up draft capital to do that. Like I said before, there's so many holes that Atlanta Falcons got to fill. They need to stand pat. They got the money. They can build through free agency, and they can still build through the draft because they have done so well from their last two draft classes. So stick to the plan. Let's see, can we build this thing right? And you just got to get in the dance, right? We got to improve from the last two seasons, and that's what we've been seeing. We've been seeing progress. As a Falcon fan, I'm in it for the long haul, so I'm not in a quick fix. If we need to do it the slow way and build it the right way, I'm happy with that. Definitely want to hear what you guys think about that. Let me know what you think about Arthur Smith interview that he had. Go out there and look at it on AtlantaFalcon.com. On YouTube, you can actually check it there. Let me know who you're actually looking for in the Scouting Combine. Who you think the Falcons going to definitely be targeting in that sense. And last but not least, what you think about the coaching changes they have made? Do you think it's going to benefit Atlanta Falcons in the long run? And this is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.